Hello everybody, welcome back. It's been a long time since I've done one of these videos and I'm pretty excited about it because I love these. We're going to be doing another recipe from the Great Depression. The Great Depression recipe that I chose today, I have never tried it. We're doing Hoover stew. Now let's talk about the history of this Great Depression meal first. Americans were pretty mad at the sitting president at the time. His name was Herbert Hoover. You guys probably know that. But a lot of things got nicknames because they were so angry with Herbert Hoover. Such as homeless encampments. They were nicknamed Hoovervilles. If you had pockets turned inside out and there was no money in them, those were called Hoover flags. A lot of families found themselves to be homeless during the Great Depression. And a lot of times they had to use newspapers to keep themselves warm. So they called those newspapers Hoover blankets. This stew is called Hoover stew because it was very popular during the Great Depression. Now, over the years, there have been a lot of variations of this stew, and I think I have actually tried a couple of those in my childhood. There is one that was really popular growing up. It is elbow macaroni with tomatoes, and that's it. Dusty loves it. I don't much care for it, but Dusty loves it. A lot of people love it. Another variation that my family used to make was beef and vegetable soup with elbow macaroni. And I wasn't a big fan of it growing up either because you guys know I don't really like tomato-based soups. And that was just a variation of it. But the OG, the original Hoover stew, consisted of elbow macaroni, hot dogs, corn, and tomatoes. But a lot of times people would just use what they had. Like they would substitute beans instead of that corn. They would use a different kind of noodle because, you know, noodles is a noodle. You don't have to use macaroni noodles if you don't have it. And they would add things from their garden like peppers or onions. There was just all sorts of variations of this Hoover stew. So it's pretty much use what you have with a little bit of hot dogs and noodles. This stew saved the lives of so many of our ancestors. And maybe this recipe can help a lot of family nowadays with this cost of living crisis and groceries being so extremely expensive. Maybe something like this could help us all out. So I'm going to try it out today and I have a good feeling about it. I think it's going to be pretty good. We're going to be doing a variation of this Hoover stew. I don't have macaroni noodles, but I have medium shell noodles. I have canned diced tomatoes. I have a can of corn, pinto beans, and we're going to use some hot dogs. While I was doing my research on this, a lot of people put onions or peppers, things like that, in with their hot dogs as they cook this because they had gardens and it was just added flavor and it bulked it up a bit. So I think I might add a little bit of something to mine too. Why not play with it? Because it's just a use what you kind of have thing anyways. I think I'm going to do that. We're going to have some Hoover stew, 2026 style. Today's video is sponsored by Good Chop. Good Chop delivers high quality meat and seafood straight to your door. Unlike many other companies, Good Chop sources its meat and seafood exclusively from American farms and fisheries. And I know you guys absolutely love that. By choosing Good Chop, you're supporting local family farms and independent ranchers right here in the good old USA. Go to goodchop.com/YouTube and use my code SFMama50 or click the link in the description below to get $50 off plus free shipping on your first order. Y'all want to hear something else that's pretty cool? Good Chop has a 100% money back guarantee. Good Chop only sources the good stuff. That's why they feel so confident about that 100% money back guarantee. You either love Good Chop or you get your money back. Simple as that. I love the variety. I love the beef, the chicken, the pork. Ryder and Braden absolutely love Good Chop seafood. They think it is the best and it's such a treat when they get it. Go to goodchop.com/YouTube and use my code SFMama50 or click that link in the description below to get $50 off plus free shipping on your first order. I'm going to get started by boiling up my noodles. I'm only going to use 8 ounces of these shells. I'm going to cook this pasta up until it's al dente. My pasta is done. I'm draining it. I'm going to let it chill out until I need it. I'm going to cut up an onion and put in our Hoover stew. This is a very common additive to the Hoover stew if you had a garden. Fun fact about the Great Depression, gangster Al Capone actually started soup kitchens. A lot of times those soup kitchens served Hoover stew when they weren't just serving toast with coffee. I'm going to finely dice my onion. Ooh, these onions are strong. They're getting me in my eyes. Okay, push this to the side. We're going to coin up the hot dogs. If you want to make it a little fancy, you could totally do it sideways. All right. Beautiful. Beautiful hot dogs and onions. Now we're going to go cook this up in a pot. Now, a lot of times in the Great Depression, they would have a fat such as bacon grease. They render down pork fat, beef fat, any kind of fat, they would render it down. Sometimes they didn't have any at all, and that's okay. Just saute it the best you can without any oil. I'm going to toss in all those onions and the hot dogs. And we're just going to saute these together until they get a little crispiness to them. Families would come together with simple ingredients and they would make enough food to last for days for their family. During the Great Depression, families helped one another. If I eat, you eat. The love that they had for one another is so inspiring. When you're cooking anything and you see that there's little brown bits starting to stick to the bottom, you need to get real excited for probably some of the best food you'll ever have, because that's flavor, especially when you deglaze that. Okay, I think these hot dogs and onions are done. We're getting some little browning to the hot dogs, and those onions are tender and they're looking good. Turn that heat down to low. I'm going to toss in those diced tomatoes. You can use stewed tomatoes, tomato sauce. It doesn't matter. This is just a pretty much whatever you have access to kind of thing. I'm going to go in with these pinto beans. Already it's looking pretty good. I love beanie weenies. Now I'm adding 1 can of corn, juice and all. We're going to let this come to a simmer and simmer for about 10 minutes. All those flavors melting together, just trying to become one. Once that has simmered for about 10 minutes, toss in your cooked, drained pasta. If you have a larger family to feed, you could totally make the entire package of pasta, the whole 16 ounces, and you could stretch this even further. I'm going to put some salt in this. That's about all I'm going to put in it, because they didn't put any seasonings in it back during the Great Depression. This was essentially the bulk of it. I'm just going to put a little salt in it. And that's it. We'll let this simmer together for another 5 minutes, and then it's going to be done. And we get to try Hoover stew. And we are done. It's time to taste the Hoover stew from the Great Depression. You guys seen, that made a pretty gigantic pot. So I can totally see how this fed a ton of people with just the little ingredients that it has. I don't know how I feel about it. It makes me think of tomatoes and macaroni that my family used to make a lot of when I was younger. And I wasn't a big fan of it. I haven't had it since my childhood, so I might like it in my adulthood because you know how when you're little you don't like a lot of stuff, but when you're an adult you're like, oh, it's actually kind of good. At least for me anyways. So we're gonna see. Gotta get a hot dog in there. Make sure I got a hot dog. Make sure I have a little bit of everything in this. Okay. Hoover stick. That's not bad. I'm actually a little surprised. I was thinking this wasn't going to be very flavorful. Okay. Great Depression. I can see how this was a luxury because this is pretty good. I'm actually pleasantly surprised that this is as good as it is. This was considered to be a luxury meal. And to us, nowadays, it doesn't really look too luxurious, but it tastes luxurious. And it's full of, okay, there's protein, there's beans and hot dogs for that. There's tomatoes, there's noodles. This is a very filling, hearty meal to keep you from going hungry. I like it. On the Great Depression scale, I would rate this probably an 8. It would be an 8 for me. It's the Hoover stew.
Hoover stew.
Hoover stew. They named it that because they were mad at the president at the time. I was pleasantly surprised. I've never had it before.
Good.
What do you rate it on the Great Depression scale?
Oh, I don't know. At 8 or 9.
Okay. Would you eat it again if I made it?
Yeah. Good food.
Hey, this is called Hoover stew.
That's not bad.
Would you eat it again?
If I had to.
What do you rate it on the Great Depression scale? 1 to 10.
I give it a 7.
Okay. 7. Pretty good. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I love this series. I love that I brought it back. It's so interesting. And maybe it can help some of us out. You never know. Times are tough. I love you guys. I will see you next video. Remember, as always, be positive, be kind, be happy. Let other people be happy. And I will see you later, taters. Bye.